Morning, Ledges. So just taking a look at the Bunds this morning. We'll start out with a weekly chart, and from a weekly higher time frame perspective, it still feels to me like the market is going to come down and challenge this low before it makes too much headway to the upside. And I say that simply because we had this bearish engulfing here. We tried to rally, we followed it up with another bearish engulfing, and you can see the intra-week. This week we tried to rally about halfway through last week's bearish engulfing, and then we've got slammed. And I feel like the path of least resistance is to the downside now. It's always hard though until you can actually isolate the precise point at which you think it's going to go when you're trading on a lower time frame, because I don't hold overnights for a start, and at the same time, intraday when you're trading with as tight stops as I've been using lately, 4 ticks, the weekly time frame becomes almost irrelevant. But I've just got that in the back of my mind. I much prefer the day chart for context when I'm trading intraday. And yesterday's candle, a bit of an indecision day after 2 big down days. We've got this doji here. We've been higher, we've been lower on the day, closed fractionally up. Doesn't give me a whole lot of basis for today. So again, we keep drilling down. We come onto a 60-minute chart. Always bear in mind that I'm thinking about my levels. Are they in the right places? Do I have to redraw them? You see this one that I've got here, from this high and this low back here. I'm going to take that, I'm going to draw it down, just so it's a little bit more flush with the hard right, this prior high and that low there. Obviously I'll keep this one where it is, because although we've kind of double bottomed just before it, I want to be aware that if we break down through that area, we have got a prior deep swing low back here. And again, these are the big 60-minute levels around where we're trading at the moment. And then we come down onto the 5-minute chart and we have a look at our levels. And the first thing to bear in mind would be that if we do break down through this area here, last low pre-breakdown at the moment being 33s, I think it's likely that we will come down and we'll tag that S1 pivot and that deep swing low at 19s. So that would be a possible trade. I may actually take an SFP, 5-minute swing failure of that low, but it depends what the candle looks like. Obviously if we break below and close concertedly above, then you may not have much room to play for. But that's a possibility there, and that may be one of the bigger possibilities on this chart at the moment, those two. If you look at where we are in the context of the weekly market profile, you can see that we're creating the current week's point of control right around the 12th of December's VPOC, and even looked back to the week before, from the 5th of December, and you can see again in that area the bulge there in time and volume that the market spent. So it's no real surprises to see it balancing round here, and it's not an area that you ideally want to trade. If we have a quick look at the daily profile, you can see that the high of today after we drove up was this volume value area low from the 25th. I think if we get above that, we could try a short-term trade on a break rounded retest, and that's going to be corresponding with the highs set from late in the session yesterday. But I don't think you're going to see that much there. At its most optimistic, probably a push to Thursday's swing high at 88s. I mean, you've got an hourly level beyond that, so I really wouldn't want to run it too far past there. I wouldn't trade an SFP of this, by the way. It's not a deep swing. Now you might think, well, what about if it does break right up and out of here? Could you buy a retest of these prior highs? That could be a candidate for a trade as well. But beyond that, I don't really see too much at the moment. Maybe things will pick up later. We've got some news out at 1:30, GDP, core durable goods. We've got University of Michigan consumer sentiment at 3, but my instinct is that the Bund is in a place where it's not going to offer a lot of particularly good opportunities today. I guess we'll see how the day develops.